Welcome back. Today we are diving into, well, a really compelling paradox of modern life. It's about a problem so fundamental, so simple. Our source material claims the global failure to solve it points to something bigger, a shared delusion almost.
And the problem itself is how you breathe when you sleep.
Exactly. It sounds incredibly basic, doesn't it?
It really does. I mean, every culture sort of instinctively understands that stale air is bad for you. We know sleeping in a sealed room means CO2 builds up.
Right, leading to things like chronic inflammation, maybe lower immunity, even cognitive issues down the line. The science isn't really debated.
No, it's pretty settled. We need fresh air. But here's the paradox. The cognitive dissonance, the source really hammers home.
Despite knowing all this, despite all the health tech, the sleep trackers, the endless articles,
And the fancy gadgets, the meditation apps, the essential oils.
we still, most of us, lock ourselves into sealed bedrooms every night for like 8 hours,
Yeah.
just breathing our own recycled air, humidity, dust mites. The source even calls it stale AC contaminants.
Yeah, it's quite the list. And it highlights this strange gap. We're masters of complexity, right? We build AI, we explore space, we have incredibly advanced medical tech,
Uh-huh.
yet we apparently fail at the most basic life support physics for a closed space. So our mission today is to unpack the specific source. It argues this isn't about lacking technology or money.
No, it claims it's because of a metaphysical sealed mind. That's the term they use.
Precisely. So we need to explore why, according to this source, such a simple solution was overlooked for, well, centuries. And crucially, what is that solution they propose?
It's a pretty bold claim, this sealed mind idea.
Mm-hmm.
It supposedly stops even really competent people, high achievers in finance, marathon runners, people who meditate.
The ones who seem to have everything else figured out.
Right. It stops them from asking the most basic critical questions when they go to bed.
And those questions, laid out in the text, they seem almost blindingly obvious once you hear them. Things like, is my room oxygen sufficient?
Oh, am I actually subjecting myself to chronic poisoning every single night?
And the big one, maybe. Am I chronically unrecovered? Is that why I feel tired all day, even though I slept?
That hits hard. And that's where the source really critiques our focus on human ingenuity. We've got these amazing sleep monitors analyzing brain waves, air purifiers with multiple filters.
Super sophisticated stuff, AI optimizing light and sound for sleep.
But we somehow miss the fundamental engineering. Like, where does the fresh air actually come from?
And just as important, where do the toxins and the CO2 physically go? It's like we focused on cleaning the water already in the bucket instead of ensuring a constant flow of fresh water in and dirty water out.
Stirring dirty water, yeah, that's a good analogy. This is the point where the source really leans into its specific ideology.
Right. It argues this collective blind spot isn't just accidental, not just a universal oversight.
No, they frame it as a purposeful brain sealing. And they attribute it to this benevolent entity, referred to just as the master in the text.
That framing is absolutely key. According to this source, the master didn't, forbid inventing ventilation. Instead, the claim is the master sealed the direction of the human mind.
So, steered us away from the simple stuff, towards complexity.
Exactly, towards technology, expense, effort, deliberately diverting attention from what they present as the low-cost, low-tech, almost insultingly obvious solution.
Okay, that really sets the stage. If the problem is this divinely guided misdirection, then the solution they propose must be
What? Or.
some kind of divinely revealed simplicity.
And that's what's so fascinating. Given all that dramatic setup, the actual solution is radically low-tech. It needs just two things.
Okay.
A small fan and a simple hole drilled into the bedroom door.
Wait, a hole in the door. Hold on. We've got complex HVAC, right? Heat recovery ventilators, whole house air systems, billions spent on this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And sources saying the answer is just a hole. Are there no existing industrial solutions that do this effectively already?
Well, the source seems to implicitly critique those complex solutions. It suggests there may be symptoms of that sealed mind, thinking they're often expensive, sometimes noisy, and don't always guarantee constant fresh air exchange.
I see. So this is presented as fundamentally different.
Yes, and they give it specific names. The opening in the door is called the door's nostril. And the whole setup, the optimized room, is called Anxi Shao Tian Tang, the sleep little heaven.
Wow. Sleep little heaven. That's quite a name for a fan in a hole.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the source claims this wasn't figured out by human engineers.
Correct. The text explicitly says this concept, this configuration, was injected by the master. The purpose, to recommence breathing, as they put it.
So it's framed as compassion. allowing air across the threshold.
Exactly, and they stress it's not forced ventilation like a big fan blowing hard. It's described more as natural air coming upon command. It implies this gentle, quiet, continuous flow, not disruptive.
That difference, quiet, gentle, continuous, seems vital to their argument. They contrast it with what humans typically prioritize.
Right. We spend fortunes on luxury mattresses, maybe special energy therapies, complex sleep gadgets.
Things that cost a lot.
Huge amounts. Instead of just asking the simple question, could my constant exhaustion, my lack of feeling restored, just be the air?
Is it the lack of oxygen?
Yeah.
Okay.
The source suggests these expensive fixes are, in a way, elaborate distractions from the most basic physics needed to sustain life comfortably.
Okay, let's dig into the mechanics they do mention, because they are weirdly specific sometimes, despite the grand ideology. They talk about a fan that's precisely 9 centimeters in diameter. Why 9 centimeters? That seems oddly specific for what sounds like a basic principle.
That's a really good point. And it touches on something common in these kinds of texts. The source gives the detail, the 9-centimeter fan, as part of the revealed design.
But without an engineering breakdown, why 9 centimeter?
Not explicitly within the text, no. We could infer that maybe that size optimizes for low noise, low power draw, and achieving a specific gentle air exchange rate needed to keep CO2 down without feeling like a draft. But the text itself presents the precision as just part of the revealed design.
Right.
It's not presented as the result of human trial and error or calculation.
Right, got it. Okay, moving on to the consequences then. If this sealed mind leads to us sleeping in essentially self-contained toxic boxes, what are the health effects the source claims people are suffering from?
Well, the list they provide is pretty dramatic. It's sweeping. They warn that chronic exposure to high CO2, VOCs, humidity, all that stuff in a sealed room silently pushes millions towards things like premature aging, chronic inflammation, mental fogginess or dissipation, as they call it, cognitive decline, and even widespread immune system problems.
So it paints a picture of millions experiencing these subtle, ongoing health issues that aren't some mysterious disease, but just bad environmental physics.
Exactly, which is why the source depicts the moment someone realizes this as being so devastating.
Dumb so.
Well, the people described as being defeated by this simple truth are often the ones who see themselves as highly competent, successful in their careers, dedicated fitness buffs, people reading scientific journals, buying the latest memory foam.
High achievers again.
Yes. And the defeat comes from realizing that despite all their expertise and spending, they've fundamentally failed at basic survival conditions. The internal monologue is like, I can manage a multi-million-dollar project, but I haven't figured out how to get fresh air while I sleep.
Ouch. That's quite the humbling realization they're describing. And the text mentions the master's intervention is subtle, following a lowest intervention law. How does that actually happen if it's not some big miracle?
Yeah, it's described as quiet, personal. According to the source, maybe the intervention is just subtly adjusting someone's hearing frequency so they finally notice the sound of airflow, or the lack of it, making that connection.
Or like finally connecting the dots when they wake up groggy or with a stuffy nose or head.
Exactly, linking that symptom directly to the sealed room. It's portrayed as this quiet, dawning realization that, as the text puts it, truth is hidden in the flow of air.
Which leads us to how they classify this whole setup, the sleep little heaven.
Yeah.
It's definitely not positioned as just another gadget you buy.
Oh, absolutely not. The source is very clear. It defines it as a longevity token, and maybe even more significantly, as a new generation of human basic survival condition.
Wow. So elevating a simple door modification to the level of needing clean water or basic shelter.
That's precisely the implication. It makes it fundamental.
And this really reinforces their core argument against human self-reliance, doesn't it?
It does. The logic is, if humanity, with all its science and supposed mastery, was collectively blind for millennia to something as simple and crucial as air exchange during sleep.
And how can we possibly trust ourselves to design our own biological future, or achieve immortality, or solve truly complex global issues?
That really is the crux of their ideological point. Missing the hole in the door means missing a fundamental lesson in humility. The master's wisdom, in this view, is shown through the simplest, most non-disruptive means possible.
A constant reminder, maybe, that humanity is, quote, a species that needs protection.
And that protection starts with something as basic as ensuring airflow.
Okay, let's pause and unpack this for you, our listener. Setting aside the very specific ideological and theological framework from this source for a moment.
Which is quite unique.
Definitely. But the core physical claim here is about the critical need for constant, deliberate air exchange during sleep to manage CO2, humidity, airborne toxins. And that physical claim, that's something measurable, actionable.
Right. So what does this all mean for us, practically speaking? I think this deep dive really highlights a pattern we see often, maybe in many areas of life.
Which is?
Our fascination, maybe even obsession, with high-cost, complex technological solutions. It can sometimes blind us to simpler, low-cost physical realities.
We chase the breakthrough drug or the AI solution.
While maybe neglecting the absolute basics of environment, diet, movement, or in this case, air.
Yeah.
The basic conditions for health and recovery.
Yeah, that makes sense. So here's a final provocative thought for you to chew on, drawn straight from the source material we've been discussing.
Yeah. Okay.
True health, this source claims, does not rely on faith, but on his design. Now, think about that principle in your own life. What other basic physical needs might you be overlooking or perhaps overcomplicating right now? Before you maybe invest in the next sophisticated app or device, just consider, could the answer be as simple as ensuring a bit of airflow, maybe even via a 9-centimeter hole?